This is Balanced, a holistic lifestyle podcast for millennials that focuses on mastering mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Jebu Vive, a Jamaican mother, wife, educator, and motivator. Follow me as we dive into all of life's compartments on my journey to striking the balance. What a guan, Beauts! Before we kick it into gear today, full disclosure. Okay, I am by no means an expert. I won't pretend as though one size fits all here either. What works for me might not work as well for you because let's face it, no two people are alike, right? Not even biological twins are the exact same way. So, I'm merely sharing with you a few ideas that I myself found useful, ideas that got me to break through my figurative barriers and are still working for me as we speak. In our last episode, we looked at self-discovery, finding you and your happiness without being reliant on other outside factors. If you missed that one, you can check it out on my YouTube channel, or you can find me on Twitter and TikTok at JEBUVVT for more content. That said, today we'll be listing out and breaking down 10 baby steps to unlocking a better you. I'm your voice of reason, your sage, Jebu V. Welcome to the Balanced family. Now I've heard it said, it takes 21 days to break a habit, but that comes with practice, right? Practicing happens daily and that takes discipline. Now, you can't practice for only 21 days and expect to see immediate change, silly, no matter what habit you're trying to break. In the last show, I mentioned my own self-check practices, my nightly growth review, and my morning happy check. I do these checks because I want to know how well I'm doing mentally and if I'm morphing into the person I want to see staring back at me in the mirror. So that means, yeah, I do these checks daily. Let's face it, we learn something new every day. The question is a matter of whether or not we apply it. I hope today is one of those days where we can put our best selves into practice. Okay? So, enough dilly-dally. Let's get counting. Step 1. The first thing I did was slow down. Harder than it seems, trust me, I know. I knew I needed to slow down simply because too much was happening. I was anxious, overthinking, and constantly drained. I was always engaged and wasting my sweet, precious energy on things that weren't even worth my acknowledgement. So boom, I just stop. Yeah, you heard me right. I just stopped. Whenever I realized I was getting worked up, I would ask myself two simple questions. One is this even really my business? Because child, honey, Beauts out there, we know. Can we talk about it? We know. Sometimes we get so caught up in our feelings and we get overworked and overwhelmed when it's somebody else's business. But the other question I would ask is this. In another year, will this situation affect me? Will I even care about it? That's a good one, right? Because half the time, truth be told, we get really worked up over some things that are very insignificant and they won't even be worth the time and the energy the next day. So, what y'all do? If my answer wasn't yes to any of these questions, I take several steps back. It sounds harsh right now, but simply put, I just stopped caring. Life is too short, yeah, man. So tell me, what are some questions you ask yourself when you're trying to diffuse an internal situation? Let me know. I'd love to hear your simmer down remedies. Step 2. If I was going to function optimally, I needed to focus on what mattered most. In order to do that, I had to slow down just enough to clear my head and my plate. Okay, Beauts. Step 2 said, I had to get rid of the thoughts that weren't fruitful. Those were the thoughts that were causing me to feel like my whole life was a game of Need for Speed. Always fast-paced, getting wrecked, chasing, changing lanes, going in circles, and not so often winning. Let's talk about it. I legit had to declutter. Yeah. I went through my devices, all accounts, my emails, and I got rid of every distraction. Anything that wasn't serving me, things that triggered memories I'd rather forget. I got rid of contacts too. Oh yeah, because listen, nothing is worse than trying to evolve while surrounding yourself with people who do not want or support your evolution. Let's talk about it, Beauts. Let's talk about it. Then I organized the thoughts that brought positive vibrations. And that brought me to step 3. Step 3. Constantly being engaged by whatever I had let into my environment wasn't helping. But separate and aside from those elements like triggers and disingenuous relationships, I needed to do some soul searching. This is a major step in any process. It gives some direction. Some of you may be wondering how spiritual that sounds, like, ooh, she's talking about soul searching. Well, it was for me. For me to be the best version of myself, I had to spend some time really getting to know me, truly getting to know me. What caused me to cling to toxic relationships? Why did I even have triggers in the first place? I had to ask all the hard questions, uncomfortable questions, yeah, and I had to be aware of the places I was or wasn't putting myself in so I could receive my answers. Step 4. It took me quite a while to really get a hang of this one, so don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get it right the first couple times, okay? I had to learn to embrace what I found out about myself. Let me repeat that one for the Beauts in the back. I had to learn to embrace what I had found out about myself. Whatever I found and I didn't like, I had the power to change. And what I loved, I could mold into something more superior. There was always a choice. I could either beat myself up and squeeze myself into a box, limiting this person I didn't like, or I could accept myself for me, regardless of my imperfections. Now, I'm not Jesus. None of us are, after all. But I could do my part to live my best life, the best version of it. I was a firecracker, but I could be nuclear. I wasn't going to settle dry like that. Nah, I didn't have to, and I definitely didn't want to. At this point, I knew what I wanted, and I also knew exactly what I needed to address to get better. The game changer, though, was being enlightened by the fact that my life was mine, and I had full control over the things I could control. I could unpack, relax, set and uphold boundaries in every aspect of my life. My question then was, okay, what exactly did I need to do to take action and get to that best place of my life? Holistically, how could I level up from being just a firecracker to being a nuclear bombshell? So those questions brought me to the discovery of step 5. Mana. I found I needed a coping mechanism to get me by when I felt out of control, and had to develop one that relied completely on my drive and not external drivers. Now, this can be difficult for you, and you can let me know what coping mechanisms you've developed on your own journey. It doesn't have to be mana, but this was mine. So, mana is the Hindu term for the practice of silence. It's more widely known as a vow of silence, and it is not limited to any religious belief, although it is commonly used to help bring a deeper connection to you and the divine. But yeah, believe it or not, me, a Yabawax, yabba box, yeah, a chatterbox, went silent. I went silent. Yeah. And I learned to discern what outside factors were good for me. A lot of us have been programmed with that same wiring that tells us we aren't good enough. Let me tell you this, beautiful people. It's only an internal complex, and it can lead to our detriment if we aren't careful. But the best way to face up is by taking baby steps with you. Let's say we're rewiring from the inside out. I'll let you ruminate on these first 5 steps I used to unfold a better version of me, and I hope it'll give you a boost to unpack your best self. If you've been struggling with self-control or having internal battles, I'm suggesting Mana. Or try taking the vow of silence just for a few hours. Doesn't have to be long at all. The idea is to just spend some time with you in an environment that's completely quiet and you can just, If you've ever practiced or it's something you do now, let me know what your experience has been and how long you've been taking a vow of silence for. On that note, we can call this episode a wrap. I hope you enjoyed our time together because I deeply appreciate it. You can find me, your blunt bombshell, at JEBUVVT on Twitter and on TikTok for more motivational content. Join me next week as we continue with part 2 of our 10-step countdown as we strive to strike the balance. Until then, walk good, Beauts. Bless.